Hello, my name is Scott and I'm going to show you how to use the Ontario Breeding Bird Atlas's coverage map. So what is the coverage map? It's a way for Atlas staff and volunteers to track our progress in bird survey effort over the course of the 5-year project, and it provides us with an up-to-date visual tool to assist us in planning our efforts. As a quick reminder, primary Atlas coverage goals break down into an hourly effort goal and a point count goal. Complete coverage of a square is 20 hours of effort and 25 point counts. Our goal is to cover 100% of squares in Southern Ontario, 5% of squares in the roaded north, and 2% of squares in the roadless north. To navigate to the coverage map, visit the Atlas website at birdsontario.org, open the Tools and Resources drop-down menu and go to Mapping Resources and select Coverage Map. You will then see the map on the Nature Counts web portal. If you zoom in on the map, you will start to see the outline of each Atlas square. And if you zoom in further, you will eventually see the square ID. This can be useful for finding the square you live in or the square you are trying to go to. You can click on an individual square to see various effort metrics for the square. You can toggle features on and off on the map to provide you with more information. For example, you can display the regional boundaries by selecting Show Atlas Regions and then hitting the Update Map button. You can also add other features like priority squares and square assignments. Remember to hit the Update Map button once you have selected the features you want to see. If we zoom into Timmins, Ontario in Region 41, and we reference the legend beneath the map, we can see which squares are assigned and which squares are priority. Since our goal is to complete 100% of squares in Southern Ontario, all the squares in the south are priority. For Northern Ontario, priority squares are those that were completed in Atlas 2, but the number one goal is to get 5% of the squares in each block complete, even if they don't end up being the priority squares. You can even see which squares are assigned and complete, which are the squares with black dots. Reminder, assigned squares are those that already have someone signed up to complete the coverage. So ask the regional coordinator before going to an assigned square to avoid duplication of effort. Complete squares are those that the regional coordinator has concluded as having adequate coverage, so no more effort is required in these squares. You can also view different data types on the map. For example, to see the number of point counts completed in each square, select Number of Point Counts from the Layers drop-down menu and update the map. If we zoom in to Region 24, you can see that this square, 18 TVR 10, has more than 25 point counts completed. Once again, if you click on the square, a window will pop up showing you important information, such as the number of species observed, the amount of peak hours recorded, the total number of point counts completed, and whether the square is complete or not. If you click on the highlighted square number, you will be able to view the square summary sheet, which provides more detail of what species have been observed, as well as the effort that has been completed so far. So let's say that you wanted to find a square in a specific region, let's say region 27, and you wanted to atlas in a square that does not have many hours recorded in the peak breeding season. And you wanted to make sure that the square is not assigned to an atlaser yet. You would zoom in to region 27 and see that this square, 18TTR92, for example, has less than 10 hours and is not assigned. If you click on it, you will then see that the square has only had 14 species observed in it, has 1 hour recorded in the peak breeding season, and no point counts completed so far. This would be a good square to atlas in. If we look at another example focusing on point counts, you would follow a similar process. We would select show atlas regions, and show square assignments again, but this time we would select number of point counts from the layers drop-down menu. If we were to zoom in to region 25, and we look at square 18TUQ07, we can see that there are only 1 to 9 point counts completed and it is not assigned. But more specifically, if we click on the square, we can see that only 1 point count has been completed. Finally, let's look at a third example, in the case that we are looking to survey in Northern Ontario, where our coverage goal is 5% of squares in each block. So let's switch back to peak hours and select Show Atlas Blocks, Show Atlas Regions, Show Square Assignments, and highlight priority squares. If we zoom in to block 15 UWS in region 39, we can see that none of the squares have been completed because they don't have that black dot, and there are a good amount of priority squares. If we zoom in to one of the priority squares, we can see that 15 UWS60 is a high priority square. It is not assigned, and if we click on it, we see that it has 0 peak hours and 0 point counts completed. This would be a great square to atlas in, but please double check with your regional coordinator before going all the way up north. I hope this video helped you better understand how powerful the coverage map is, especially as we start to complete squares and need to focus our effort on gaps. Thanks for watching and happy atlasing.